Hello everyone and welcome to a hybrid, what I'm going to call a vlogcast. This is part episode 107 of the Giddy Knits podcast and part day 14 of Vlogmas because I've had a really busy day today. It's Monday today and normally I would record a podcast in the morning and then I would get on with work and stuff like that, but I've been catching up a little bit on work that I missed last week when I wasn't feeling very well, and I'm also trying to get ahead on a bit of work this week because I've got my booster jab booked for Wednesday, which will eat significantly into a day of work as well. Plus I'm going to have a sore arm and winding stripes with a sore arm isn't going to be much fun. So I thought I would sit down this evening. It's about, well, I say this evening, it's probably about 4:15. The kids are home, they're watching TV. Tom is just finishing up his work. He's working from home, he's upstairs. And I am sat in the dining room. I have set up my studio light that I used to use for podcasting. So we've got decent light, even though it is absolutely dark outside. You've got a really boring backdrop, I'm afraid, because our dining room walls are really plain. We haven't decorated the dining room since moving into the house. So yeah, apologies for the boring background, but hopefully I'll have plenty of pretty things to share with you to make up for it. But yeah, I thought I would do part podcast and part vlog, so it will literally be me sitting down talking to you like a podcast, but I will share some of the things I'd normally share through Vlogmas, such as me opening my advents and that kind of thing. So, shall we just get straight into it? Because otherwise I'm going to ramble for the entire time. Did I say there'll be interruptions? There'll probably be interruptions. I'm pretty sure the children will not be able to ignore me for the length of time it will take me to sit and record this, so we'll see what happens. Okay, shall we start with, as kind of in the way that I would start the podcast, we'll skip announcements for this week, but I have got finished objects to share, and it is a pair of socks. It's not a pair of sock blockers. These sock blockers, by the way, somebody asked me the other day about my sock blockers. I got these from Yarnistry. I don't know if that's going to focus because it's got the thing in the background. Can you see that? Yarnistry. I'm not sure she does the sock blockers anymore, to be completely honest. But I've had them for, I don't know how long I've had them, 4.5 years, something like that. And I love them. That's the wrong bag. My finished object is in this bag here. And I finished a pair of socks. I finished my lichen socks. I'm going to pop them on the sock blockers so I can show them off properly. Tom has just come down with his phone to his ear. He obviously had a question to ask me and now he doesn't know whether he can come in and talk to me. Okay, I'm back. He was talking to his parents because we're in the midst of trying to work out Christmas. We're hopefully going to visit family for Christmas, and the original plan that was we would stay for the whole of the Christmas period with my parents, and then we would do like Boxing Day with Tom's parents, and then a big get together with his brothers and his parents and everything like that. But with all the COVID stuff ramping up again, we've kind of made the decision that rather than having that kind of mixing too many households backwards and forwards a lot, so us staying with my parents but then going to different households and coming back and meeting other groups of people and then coming back, we've made the decision that we'll actually stay with my parents over Christmas and then we'll spend a few nights with Tom's family before we go back up to Scotland. So just trying to work out all the logistics. Of course, this could all go completely pear-shaped because we're supposed to be getting new restrictions announced in Scotland tomorrow. So we'll find out if our plans change completely. But anyway, let's talk about happier things. Let's talk about socks and finished socks. I got halfway through putting them on the sock blockers. Disorganised, as always. So I finished my lichen socks. So these are just a pair of vanilla socks. If you've been watching the podcast, you'll know kind of how I knit these. But basically, this is my lichen colourway. It's one of my 70-gram sock sets. So you get 100, no you don't. You get 50 grams of the main colour and you get 20 grams of the mini skein. And then it gives you enough to knit a pair of socks if you don't have massive feet. But what I did is I knit tubes with these. I cast on the cuff. I knit using exactly 20 grams, well, roughly 20 grams of the main colour. I then put the toe in, and then I went back in and put the heel in where I would put the heel in for my size foot. I've got a UK size 6 foot, and this is how long the socks are. So as I said, I used roughly 20 grams of the main colour, and I actually weighed the yarn when I finished these, and I think I had 7 grams of the main colour left, and I had 5 grams of the contrast colour. I knit a really short cuff because I hate cuff knitting. So I think I only knit like 10 rows of a cuff. But with 5 grams left over, I could easily have made those cuffs a little bit longer. But it just gives you an idea. With a size 6 UK foot, you can get, you know, a decent length sock, not like a proper shorty sock. It is a reasonable length of sock. And I still had, with 7 grams left over, I still had a bit of leeway there. I wasn't playing a yarn chicken by any means. So yeah, that is my lichen socks all finished. Now I've just got another 2 pairs of socks to get off the needles, really. I'm also kind of planning to cast on 2 pairs, which I'll talk about in a minute. So yeah, a finished object. It's felt a long time coming for a proper finished object, hasn't it? What else was I going to talk about? Some works in progress, which you will have seen throughout the vlogs, but this is a podcast, so you're going to get to see them again. I have picked up, as I said I was going to, during December, I have picked up my Cupid's Arrow wrap. Now, this is a pattern by Ellie of Craft House Magic, and she released it Advent last year, so kind of, I can't remember whether it was released in November or December, but I think it was November, but it was released last year. The original version of the pattern has lace. I'm just wondering if I've got a decent photo, or whether I printed the photo pages or not. Probably didn't. Bear with me 2 seconds. No, I didn't. I tell you what I will do. I will put in a picture just there of the original version of this shawl, so you can see what it looks like, because it does have lace sections, which I'm not doing. I am just doing mine in garter stitch. And it is designed for an advent calendar. It is designed, in fact, it's actually designed so that you can do it with either 20 gram or 10 gram minis. She gives full instructions in the pattern as to kind of how to adjust it if you're knitting with 10 gram minis or if you're knitting with 20 gram minis. I'm doing mine with 20 gram minis, but I think I'm doing the 10 gram mini version because I wanted some leftovers. And the yarn I'm using is the Spectrum Fibres 2020 Advent Calendar, because I didn't get very far through it when I was knitting last year. When I picked this up, I was down here where that little sock progress keeper is. So I've knit a fair chunk. I've knit a good 2.5 colours. It's such a simple pattern. I don't know why I put it down. It's really, really mindless. There's nothing overly complicated to it at all. It's fantastic TV knitting. These colours are so bright though. How bright is this pink? It's completely crazy. But I'm starting to go into more peachy kind of colours. These are the next... Oh, I can't get them out of the bag. These are the next few colours, so you can see I'm going a little bit more peachy and sort of heading towards some oranges, and then I think it goes into some yellows. So I'm not knitting them in the order that they came out of the advent calendar. I reordered them because I wanted to have it as a bit more of a fade, although whether I've done that justice or not, I'm not sure. We'll see what happens at the end, but it's going to be pretty. It's going to be bright and colourful and pretty, and it will make an amazing wrap. I have no expectations. Here comes an interruption. Hello, Jazzy. You hungry? Yeah. Okay, I'll get you a snack in a minute. Is that all right?
Can I choose?
Why didn't you grab something out of your party bag from yesterday? He went to a football party yesterday and he got a little treat bag, but he didn't eat all of the treats at the party for some reason, so he's still got a few little bits and pieces in the treat bag, so he can have those. What was I going to say about this? Yeah, I have no idea whether I'm going to get this finished during December. I really don't think I will, but I probably will take it away over Christmas for Christmas knitting, because it's, as I said, relatively simple. But yeah, I've made some good progress. I'm happy with the progress I've made. Can I open these? Because there's going to be some crinkling. Apologies. There you go. Right, can you shut the door when you go back out? Okay. Thank you. The other thing that I've been working on is my Advent project, which I've been really enjoying. So I've started a corner to corner crochet blanket using the minis from my Advent swap. And look, this is where I've got to. I'm not quite keeping up to it. So the mini that I'm just starting, this brown one here, which is I'm holding it double, by the way. I'm holding it double with an undyed skein. So this brown colourway that I'm just starting here is day number 12. And it's the 13th today, so I'm a little bit behind, but I'll catch this up this evening probably. But I'm really enjoying the effect of holding it double, and it's a really nice fun project. I'm thinking, and Tom laughed at me for saying this because he said there's no way you'll stick to that because you'll get carried away. I'm thinking of just keeping this as a blanket for Advent swaps. So I will work on it during December with my Advent swap minis, and then I will put it away for the year, and next December I'll do the same and I'll work on it again. But yeah, as Tom said, I may just get carried away and want to add other minis into it, but we'll see. I'm enjoying it for the moment though. And I need to open today's Advent calendars to get the Advent minis. What else was I going to talk to you about? Advent gnome is another work in progress. Let's just go straight. We'll come back to the Advent gnome because I kind of just want to go straight into opening my Advent calendars. I'm going to bring you a little bit closer actually. There we go. I think I moved the camera away when I got up to go and see what Tom was after. So, Advent calendars. I've got 4 Advent calendars this year. 2 of them I purchased and 2 of them were swaps. So while we were talking about my Advent swap, I will start with that one. So this is the next colour that's going to be going into my corner to corner crochet blanket. So number 13 from my Advent swap. This will be crinkly. Apologies. What have we got? Ooh, that's pretty. We've got a lovely, bright and colourful mini for today. That's really pretty. So the swap that I took part in is the Lay Family Yarn Advent swap that Kelly runs every year, or coordinates every year, and you get paired up with a partner and you each swap 24 5-gram minis, usually kind of sock scraps from your stash, and a few other little handmade gifts and bits and pieces like that. I get chocolates each day in mine, which is very nice. And then she's also been making some little stitch markers and progress keepers. This one is super cute. Look, it's a ghost. You know my love of Halloween. How can I resist a ghost progress keeper? Come on, camera. There we go. That's really cute. So that's my swap. I then also have the Henny Penny Makes Advent Calendar, which this year is inspired by Radio Times. And again, this is a swap because for the last 2 years, in fact this is the 3rd year, Erin and I have swapped Advent calendars. So she gets one of mine and I get one of hers, and it's been absolutely lovely to do it every year. I've made blankets for the last 2 years, and I think that's what I'm going to do again this year. Ooh, this is pretty. I like the reference for this one. This is Heroes and Villains which is a reference to the Only Fools and Horses episode where they dress up as Batman and Robin. One of my all-time favourite programmes and one of the most watched Christmas specials ever, the Only Fools and Horses trilogy is remembered fondly as the time when Del and Rodney finally become millionaires. However, the section when Del and Rodney are heading to a fancy dress party and their van breaks down, leaving them to run through the streets as Batman and Robin, will always make me laugh out loud. Erin pops in a little information sheet in each of the colourways explaining the inspiration, which is lovely. I'm really, really enjoying the advent calendar. I can't wait to start turning this into a blanket. And then the two advents that I purchased. So first of all, there is the Nerdy Advent from Laura at The Lonely Knitter, or Bumbling Yarns. And this, there's a lolly in it. I've dropped the yarn on the floor, but there's a lolly in it. Hide that from the children. And here's the colourway for today. This is really, really pretty. I've not looked up the colourway name yet. This will be embarrassing if I don't get the nerdy reference, won't it? Let's have a look, shall we? Day 13. Oh, I get the reference. She's done them all with like quotes and things like that, which is quite nice. One ring to rule them all. So there we go. Lord of the Rings, or The Hobbit, I guess. But, yep. Gorgeous. And then my final advent calendar, which is another one that I purchased. So Laura's that I purchased was a 10 gram. And then I also purchased a 20 gram advent calendar from Hannah at Chromatic Yarns. And Hannah's is D&D inspired. Ooh, this one's pretty. So today is Law of Luru. I need to look up some of these references. But look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? What a beautiful colour. I'm really enjoying the mix of tonals and speckled in Hannah's advent calendar. I can't wait to kind of see them all together at the end. Yeah, I'm really quite excited to see them all together at the end. It'll be really interesting to see what she went for as a whole. So there we go. That was my advents. I couldn't resist opening those. But I did have one more project I wanted to talk about, and that was my gnome. I've not got very far on the gnome. I have got all tangled up. I've done clues 2 and 3, and in fact, if you've been watching the vlogs, I've not got any further than when I was talking to you about it the other day. So far, I have some little I-cord bits, and I have a little basket. Somebody said to me the other day, and I'm sure many of you will know already what this is, because I haven't actually been looking at any of the gnome stuff, so I haven't had any spoilers, and I've not been keeping up to date with all the clues, so I have no idea what this is going to become. But someone did suggest the possibility that maybe it could be a rucksack. And I really like that idea. That would be really cute. Maybe it could be a little rucksack. That would be so cute. But yeah, a little basket and some little I-cordy bits. And hopefully I will find some time at some point this week to look up and carry on with the rest of the clues. The daft thing is, the clues are so quickly that if I actually get myself organised and sit down and focus on it in an evening, I can probably knit a couple of clues and catch up a little bit. But I just haven't been. So the other thing I wanted to share or talk about was Christmas Eve cast on. I'm hoping to do a proper podcast next Monday, sort of the last one before Christmas. But just in case I don't get a chance to, I thought I would talk a little bit about my plans for a Christmas Eve cast on. I got you all to vote earlier in Vlogmas from a selection of yarns as to what I was going to cast on as my Christmas Eve cast on. And the vast majority of you, it was definitely an outright winner, voted for this colourway. This is an ancient Giddy Yarns colourway. Look, it's even got an old label. Oh, I can't talk. An old label. Pre-sticker days, so I used to get them all printed for my base and hand write them on. In fact, that's not my handwriting, that's actually Tom's handwriting. But yeah, vintage Giddy Yarns colourway. So this is Christmas Morning Chaos. and this was by far the winner of which I should cast on for Christmas Eve. So that's going to have to happen. I'm going to stick with vanilla socks for this because I have a suspicion of how it'll knit up, and I think it would look best in vanilla socks. So yeah, that's going to be my Christmas Eve cast on. But then I also kind of fancied a New Year's Eve cast on, or a second Christmas Eve cast on, or a Christmas Day cast on, or a Boxing Day cast on. I don't quite know what to call it, because there's no way I'll get them both cast on at Christmas Eve. But I want to cast another pair of socks on around Christmas. Namely, out of this yarn, which is the yarn I dyed at the Lay Family Retreat, the Wool Lay Retreat. And it's just, I just love it so much, and I'm so pleased with it, and it's mine and only mine, and it's not something that's going in the shop, and it's not something anyone else can get because I only dyed one skein of it and it's mine. So I want to make myself a pair of socks out of this, but I want to make a pair of patterned socks, preferably something with a festive theme to it. So I had a little look at my Ravelry library at what patterns I've got, and there were two patterns by Anne of Thistle Glen Designs that I bought relatively recently that I'm considering, which is, in fact, I'll put pictures up. I'll move over here a bit. The first one is Holly and Ivy, and the second one is All is Calm. So they're definitely possibilities. The other pair of socks that I've got in my Ravelry library is the Sugar Frost socks, which is a pattern by Marianne Heikkinen? Sorry about butchering names there. These ones are actually a free pattern, and I think I must have heard of them in a podcast and liked them, and then I went and got the pattern. But they're really kind of pretty textural socks. And then the final one is the Cheering Socks, which is a curious handmade pattern from, I believe, last year's knit event. It might have been the year before, I'm not 100% sure. But I can't decide. Are there any other festive sock patterns that you would recommend? Any ones that you've knit with a relatively highly speckled yarn, but I think it would work quite well with a nice texture or a little bit of detail of some kind? Yeah, let me know, because I'd be curious to try and have a look for some different patterns. Right, what else was I going to talk about? I can't really remember. I have some notes. I've done advents. I've talked about my projects. Q&A. Tom and I, every year during Vlogmas, we do a Q&A video. So it tends to be a slightly longer video, like this one will be, where we both sit down in an evening, usually with a glass of wine, and answer a whole load of random questions that everybody has sent in. And we're planning to do that. We're hoping to find some time to record one later this week, which will be, it's always good fun. It's always a little bit of chaos and just, yeah, good fun. We get some very random questions. And yeah, it's daft, but it's Christmassy and it's festive and it's fun. So we want to do that again this year. But I need questions. So if you've got any questions you want to ask Tom and me, no questions are too silly. We get lots of sensible questions too, but we quite enjoy the silly questions too, because they're much more fun to answer. So if you've got any questions that you would like us to attempt to answer during a little sit-down Q&A session, then please drop them below in the comments, and I will make a note of them and add them to a list of questions to answer. I'll pop a thing up on Instagram as well at some point this week to do the same and kind of gather some questions that way. And then at some point we'll sit down and record the Q&A video this week, hopefully. Hopefully. Need to get it done soon because Christmas is coming. It's coming so fast. I don't know where December is going this year. And then the last thing I wanted to just update you on a little bit is the current charity total, because as I've mentioned on the podcast before, and I think I've mentioned it a couple of times during Vlogmas, throughout the month of December, all of the ad revenue that I get through my YouTube channel will be going to charity. We'll be donating it to our local food bank. And at the moment, as of this morning when I checked, our revenue total is currently at £56. £56.89 for the month of December. So we are just over halfway to my goal of £100 by the end of December, which would be amazing to be able to donate that to our local food bank. So all you need to do to help with that is watch the ads. Let the ads run at the beginning and the end of the video, and that will help increase the revenue, basically. And all of the revenue for December will be donated to the charities. Right, we need to do joke of the day before I go, don't we? We do. We need to do joke of the day. I wonder if I can convince one of the children to do joke of the day.
It's time for the joke of the day. And the joke is what? I already forgot.
What do you call an exploding monkey?
What do you call a monkey that it explodes? A baboon.
That joke of the day did not go as smoothly as I had planned. But oh well, they always say, don't they, don't work with children. Anyway, I've been doing a bit of planning for Vlogmas for the rest of the time up until Christmas, and there is some nice festive things coming up. There's a little bit more dyeing that I'm going to share. I'm going to do a little how-to video later this week with a little bit of dyeing, and yeah, things like that. So hopefully things will start looking a little bit more festive than they have done the last few days. But for now, I'm going to leave you here with this vlogcast thing. And I will see you all again tomorrow. Thank you very, very much for watching, and yeah, bye.